What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Sit Down Talk. My name is Kier.
And I'm Noémie.
And we welcome you. Clap it up for you for being in this joint. The soft claps.
We got baby sleeping upstairs.
Yeah,
we're going to try not to be too loud.
If this is your first time here, welcome. Make sure you go and you binge all of our old videos. Might be some weeks missing in between, but you go and you binge them joints just the same. If you are a group of people that we refer to as repeat offenders, I like that the repeat offenders are now calling themselves the repeat offenders in the comment section on IG, confusing everybody. But bring that thing in. Come on in.
We need to get some repeat offenders merch.
I was patting they back. What am I doing? So today's episode, we created on our Instagram a channel for the Sit Down Talk. It's about 2,500 people strong right now. So
what?
Well, yeah, it's 2,500 people in there. So
I ain't even know. I didn't even know it.
So on our Instagram channel, we sent a little updates, and I said, hey, y'all like a close-knit community? We might do a Q&A soon, so just ask us some questions, because these people know our content, know the Sit Down Talk as well as anybody. So y'all ask. I think I got, I don't know how many. I'm going to just lie and say I got 100 comments, 100 questions. It's a lot. I'm still scrolling. Okay, nah, I'm lying. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that crazy of a scroll. But y'all asked some amazing questions, and we're going to take a few of them, answer it. It's going to be a mailbag episode. All my favorite podcasts have at least one mailbag episode where they answer questions from the audience.
Yo, I think it might be 100.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Some of these are really good, but so look, y'all, we know us, and we got a tendency to
go off on a tangent
a lot, and we don't really want to do that. For the timestamp, it's 10 p.m. It's late.
It is what it is.
We gotta be up early with the kids, but we enjoy doing this.
We do, and it's a fun episode today.
Yeah. The last few episodes have been heavy, so it's good to do a fun one. All right, so we're gonna read these questions off. Let's set a timer, babe. Let's set a timer for 5 minutes.
No, because that's gonna be annoying.
Well, they're not going to hear it. We're going to edit it out, yeah. But at least it gives us an idea of how much time to spend on a question. Because we'll do a mailbag episode and only get
Can we do a
3.
silent timer? Because I would hate for like one of us to be in the middle of our bag and it's like the sound of the timer.
So if you're watching and you're not listening.
I don't like being policed by time for what I want to say.
Speak your truth, sis. All right, so the first question is, can you really reconcile a relationship if you can't forgive him?
I don't think so. I don't see how I wouldn't be able to. If I wasn't able to forgive someone, I cannot reconcile the relationship.
Why? Because
I personally will feel manipulated. I will feel like, I guess it also depends on what you're what you're forgiving, what this person did. My mind automatically goes to like cheating or violating the relationship in some way. I've been cheated on before. There have been situations where I have forgiven and situations where I haven't. And when I think about how I was able to decipher between the two, it's like situational. You know what I mean? Like, what were the circumstances behind the offense in the relationship? What was the climate of the relationship when it happened? Was there a communication barrier? Is this something for manipulation? You know what I mean? Is this an ongoing problem? I don't know if it's so much the act, but it's the situation around the circumstances. And if my body cannot forgive you, there's nothing that I can do to convince myself to do it. And for the safety of my own mental health and just out of fairness in the relationship, I don't think we can move forward.
I'm trying to put myself in these shoes, and I think my answer is the same, but we tend to feel the same way in these situations. Reconcile, if I can't forgive, it depends. I think we could reconcile to the point where we could be cordial or we could still speak.
I agree.
I don't think we'll ever be able to have a relationship. Not me. Or it depends. That's the only thing about the mailbag. I wish there was more specificity with the questions. Because it's easier to say that if you're not married. It's easier to say that if you don't have children. But forgiveness takes a long time in my mind. And betrayal is something that just weighs really heavily on me. Like, it's a worse offense to me than some other things. So the reconciliation, I think I have to forgive you as a person before I even determine what the relationship is going to look like after that. Because I can forgive you and reconcile to the point where we don't hate each other anymore, but there won't be any closeness or warmth.
I think where you and I are disconnecting on is the definition of reconciliation. So when I think of reconcile, I think of get back together. I don't think about being cordial. What am I reconciling if we're not reconciling a relationship, a friendship? And I'm just keeping it 1,000. If we're in a relationship and you betray me and I don't forgive you, I'm not like, oh, let's reconcile this friendship. Like, that I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that but I can be cordial with you. I can say, you know what we had was great. Where it's going is not where where I want it to go. And we can be cordial. I'm cool with my exes that cheated on me. We cool. I'm not with you no more. So like, it doesn't hurt in the same way that it did when I one, saw a future with you, or two, I expected some kind of like honesty and like whatever from you. But like reconciliation means get back together to me.
Nah.
And if I can't forgive you, I've also never been in a situation where I really wanted to be with someone so bad, but I couldn't forgive something that they've done. And not to say that people haven't been in that situation, but I have not. Because once I get to if I can't forgive you, I can't be with you. Like, I've never forced myself to be in a relationship that didn't feel right.
I think my brain is having a hard time registering moving to such a high level of closeness with someone who I still can't forgive for an incident.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's popping up in my mind is just this idea around forced forgiveness, feeling like you owe someone forgiveness, or because of the amount of time and closeness that you all shared, that there's a self-expectation of forgiveness somewhere. I don't believe in any of that. I think forgiveness is for you. It's not necessarily for the other person. And if you live your life and you try to find forgiveness for them and you can't, I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like that's par for a lot of people's minds. But
yeah, I agree.
Can I just get this one thing off?
Yeah, go ahead, baby.
I think it's par for people's mind, but there is cultural, social, and religious pressures that kind of make people lie to themselves about how they feel about forgiveness. If you never forgive a person, I think that's okay. And I don't think it's totally unhealthy to walk around with unforgiveness for people. I don't find that to be an unhealthy thing in one fell swoop.
I think that's going to be hard for some people to hear, because I'm glad you touched on the religious aspect of it, because I think it's okay to say this situation happened to me and it was hard to forgive. And because me being in relationship with this person brings up these emotions, maybe it's best for me to walk away from it. You know, I think that at the core of the issue is that whether you can live with being around this person and forgiving them or not. And it's like, you can force yourself to do that, but your body's going to tell you how you feel. And if this person is struggling with reconciliation because they're unable to forgive, no matter how big or small the situation is, that person is unable to forgive. They don't have the capacity at that moment to maneuver through that relationship because of whatever happened.
If you are in a spot, and this is tricky because there's some really dangerous things that people do to people where you definitely don't owe that person forgiveness, you know? Yeah. It gets really dark. But if you are in a spot where you feel that you owe someone forgiveness because, you know, time has elapsed and you're putting pressure on yourself to do that, just know that your brain does what it does. You can will it to be another way. You can wish it to be another way. But if your mind just can't wrap itself around the idea of forgiving a person, at some point you kind of have to listen to it and not be overly self-critical and self-judgmental of your inability to flip this switch, where maybe that switch isn't being flipped for a reason. The mind does some beautiful gymnastics to protect us, and everybody doesn't deserve forgiveness. That's my take. Yo, imagine reconciling with somebody, going through all the hoops, and then they do that shit again. What? And then you say, you know what? Maybe third time's a charm. Yeah, and they do that shit again. Now you don't even have to worry about reconciling with them because you got to reconcile with yourself.
Been there,
man,
done that, which is why put your thing on silent.
Come on,
been there, done that, which is why my answer is my answer, because I've been in this situation where maybe I shouldn't have forgiven and I did, and things happened multiple times. And then after the first time, at least the way that I was taught, like the way that my mom, you know, gave me game on relationships, after that first time, and like, not that it's your fault, but you know what I mean? But it's just kind of like, it's on you now. Like, it's on you. This person has proven that this is how they handle things. So you need to decide whether you're okay with it or not. And she would always say that not your stance, but like how you decide to continue on in that relationship will always be the foundation for how things are happening in your relationship. Like, you forgive cheating multiple times, why not one more time? And if the cheating really is that big of a deal for you, then like your foot has to go down at some point.
Man, going down a rabbit hole of cheating. Cheating is such a...
I don't want to talk about cheating.
I know. It's such a multifaceted concept, because it's hard to have the discussion outside of villainizing someone in a party. It's so complex what leads a person to do that.
Can we keep it 1,000?
What's up?
I agree. I think we demonize the action of cheating, which is a bad thing. But like, I've cheated before, you know what I mean? I've cheated before and I've been cheated on. I've been on both sides of the equation. But what I can tell you is, if it's happening consistently, there is a block in the relationship. Like, maybe reconciliation isn't what's best, even like, you know what I mean? It's like, do you want this person and this relationship? Like, do you want this person, or do you want what this relationship actually is? And in those situations where there was cheating on both sides, in hindsight, I can look back and be like, the relationship served its purpose for a certain amount of time, and after that, we were just dragging it. Like, I don't know that either one of us... Like,
both of y'all were in a spot, like, I don't want to do it no more, but we so familiar with each other type.
We were together for a while. And it's like, I don't think either one of us can look back at our relationship and be like, damn, like, I wish we gave it one more shot. It was a great relationship. It was a great relationship until it wasn't. And I think that, like, both of us were just really afraid. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I was afraid of leaving, because one, we were together for so long, two, families and friends were intertwined, and it's like, I don't like nobody else, you know what I mean? Like, I've invested so much time in this relationship. I was still a kid, and I think once I started to meet new people and kind of like broaden my circle and my world, it made a lot of sense. But I do think that familiarity, the fear of starting over, like, those are really, really valid things. But looking back, there were so many signs to where, like, the relationship was not working. There was resentment on both sides. There was, you know, a lack of forgiveness on both sides. And it's just like, I don't see how it's sustainable being in a relationship with somebody who has done something that you cannot forgive, big or small. It's always going to come out in an argument. I have not seen it work, and being in that situation, I remember what it felt like. And looking at our relationship, granted, I don't think there's anything like big that either one of us needed to be forgiven for, but there's still a level of like, I think this relationship is right. I don't feel like we're forcing it in the relationship. I feel like the love, the respect, all of those things really come naturally. Whereas in like those past relationships, it was forced.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I have to forgive you. I have to trust you because I'm choosing to be in this relationship, but I really don't on the inside. I'm lying to myself.
There's something intoxicating about being in the moment. In the moment, desperate people don't know they look desperate. In the moment, people who are hurting themselves don't feel like they're hurting themselves. When you're wrapped up in the emotion and the just the bigness of the moment, you don't always feel it. Of course, looking back, it don't make sense, you know. But man, when you're so close to it, never underestimate how many things you're too close to be able to see accurately. That was a brave boo.
Yeah,
that was a brave. I feel like you got some off just now. Yeah,
it's something that I've never held back on, but I don't always love the way that cheaters are demonized, and especially like on some like men are cheaters and blah blah blah. Like, I don't know that right now we're ready for an honest conversation about, I'll speak for myself. When I cheated, it wasn't like a manipulation tactic. It wasn't like I'm trying to get back at somebody. It was a block in the relationship. I think by that time, neither one of us really wanted to be in a relationship. We weren't able to give each other what we needed. And it wasn't until he had nothing to do with it. I wasn't thinking about, like, I was literally thinking about myself. I think it's a way more of a selfish move as opposed to like, I'm doing this even though it hurts this person. Maybe after the fact you feel that guilt, but like in the moment, it's always deeper than the action. And if we're willing to have a really, really honest conversation about unhappiness, being unfulfilled, lack of communication in relationships, I think that we can have a way more honest conversation about like the impact of cheating in relationships. And we talk about this a lot. We always talk about like what we would do if something happened.
Yeah, of course. That's just how our brains work. I don't know if I have a dog in this fight for real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the same experiences with cheating that you do.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Yeah, once. To my knowledge, yeah, once. But man, that was so long ago. I think I was like 19.
Oh,
yeah. So it don't count.
I mean, that's valid. How'd you feel?
It stung, man. It sucked in the moment. Yeah, she went off to college and got her a girlfriend.
Oh, I remember this story.
But we didn't even know each other that long.
But you was like, you were so infatuated. It was puppy love for sure.
Yeah.
You were in it. Dang, I remember this story.
And then like the summer was over, and then
she got a girlfriend.
Yeah. It's like, what?
It's not funny. It's not funny. No, Amy, stop it.
Hey, look. We had only been together for what? A month? But that's the summer she went off to college.
You met her in the summertime?
Met her in the summer, in the middle of the summer too, like July. I don't know if it was
between
July.
Her senior year and her freshman year of college?
Yeah.
Dang, I remember that time. Oh, yeah.
And I didn't go to college right after high school, so I was still home working.
Okay, next question.
Yeah, that is. I can't pull an emotion from that.
Be deep.
Yeah, I know. That was 15. That was 15 minutes on the first question.
Deep people.
We can't help it. All right, great question, sir or ma'am. Thank you for that. Next question is, it's no way we can answer this shortly. All right, so this question is, it's not a question, it's more of a statement, but it got a lot of love in the channel. It says, overcoming resentment toward a partner after a lack of support postpartum. So I will say this, if ever I mediated between a couple, especially young couples where this was an issue, one of the things that we don't really think about in these situations is, what does the support system outside of the child's dad look like for the mom? Where's the mom's mom? Where's the mom's dad? Where's the mom's grandma? Where's the mom's cousins? Because in these situations, especially when I talk to these men, it's like, hey, I don't know how to tell you, but you alone, you're not going to be enough postpartum. You're not. Both of y'all. No
matter how strong the union is between the two of y'all need more people.
It's not an indictment on you. And this and that's heteronormative to assume it's a dude, but just like the other partner, it's too much to expect one person to fill all those divots. You're talking about someone who's going through physiological, biological, hormonal, neurological changes. That's a lot on them. And even when I was working in special education, when I was working with students with disabilities for DC, I remember we would sit and all these families would pour in and we would give all these support to all these students. And you look at the parents, and the parents, they love their children. They will do anything for their children. They're dedicated, hardworking parents, but they tired. They're exhausted, and you can tell. And it's like, damn, the support for the person who needs support, they need support too. I remember when I was in grad school and we were talking about how to help people through grief, and they said when a child dies, the most neglected people in that situation are the grandparents. Because everyone's going to rush to the parents and I'm so sorry for your loss. But the grandparents are not only mourning the loss of their grandchild, they're mourning the loss of their child's child. They're mourning with their child. It's a compound pain right there. And I just say that all to say that if you're supporting a person who's in a rough predicament, you're going to need so much support. You're going to need so much for yourself. I think to expect that individual to be everything is a lot. And I think one of the things that breaks up that resentment is understanding that perhaps you all needed a stronger community around you. Because also, where's his family helping and pushing that? Realistically, it don't work like that.
And that's what I was going to ask you. I think that's a great point, but like, that's not people's lived realities.
Remember TikTok? Grandmas ain't as grandma as they used to be.
Right. They're not. So I still don't think that answers the question. Then it's like, yes, the person that's supposed to be the person supporting the mom or the birthing parent needs support but doesn't have support, and the mom or the birthing parent needs support but doesn't have support, and we're still back to square one.
That's why these situations usually end up in two people going their separate ways and co-parenting.
I think that what could be helpful here is acknowledging that resentment is a natural feeling in this situation. How could you not feel resentment?
Facts.
But I think being honest about that resentment can help. And this is a way that it can, that Kier and I, you know what I mean, might say something. I'll be like, babe, I know this isn't intentional, but I kind of feel a way about X, Y, and Z. And that kind of takes away the blame from him, but also puts him on notice that this is something that is in his cup of responsibilities that's not getting done for whatever reason, valid or not. And I think that us being able to look at the situation or the problem and focus on the problem being the problem versus like he's not doing enough I'm not communicating enough. Like sometimes it's really helpful for Kier and I to come together and be like, yo, these kids crazy as shit. It's like, I'm drowning. Man, I'm drowning too. Like just that acknowledgement of this is hard for different reasons, but it's hard for the both of us. That builds our solidarity, even though there's no solution, because it's not a blame thing. It's like, damn, crazy as hell. You know what I mean? But I think it needs to be said. And I think that once we kind of know where we both are, we can do the little things. Like I might say, you know, the kids are crazy or the house is a mess. He won't be able to clean the whole house, but he'll clean up in his mind, he'll be like, you know what? I got 30 minutes. Let me do the dishes real quick. Or if you're overwhelmed because the kids are crazy, I'm like, you know what? Let me hop the kids in the car and we're going to go to McDonald's and get some milkshakes real quick. And I think that even though that doesn't solve the problem, it acknowledges the fact that that other person is drowning and needs some help. And there is a little cup you can fill even if you can't. You know, even if you can't solve the whole problem.
Shout out to the little cups.
The little cups matter, man.
Little cups
matter. The little cups matter. The little cups are the ones that stop you from drowning and keeping your head above water.
Yeah.
It only takes that little bit.
Little cups add up, man. They add up. They add up quick. Yeah, I would say everyone doesn't have a relationship where they can explain that to their partner and then their partner say, you know what? Let me sit and be reflective. Because if you feel resentment, there's a very strong likelihood that your partner feels resentment as well. And resentment don't really know how to talk to each other. So
like oil and water.
Yeah, resentment need a mediator. And I know that everyone is not a super big fan of therapy, but relationship counseling teaches you all not so much how to communicate, but it gives you different tools to put in your tool bag. It allows you a different sensitivity as to when a conversation isn't going well. And after a while, you realize your conversations become more productive. But you need a space where y'all can hear each other. Because if I feel resentment, I think that I'm going to go to a space and just let it all out and then get nothing back and then see some action. That's never going to happen in a relationship. No. That you're going to have to give and get. You're going to have to take and receive. You're going to have to hear some things, say some things you probably don't want to say, and hear some things you probably don't want to hear as well. So a mediator. If you try to do it yourselves and it's not working, it's because you can't. And
that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not you can't because you're weak or incapable.
It's a lot.
You can't because it's just outside of the scope of possibilities for where y'all are individually and collectively in this moment. It's all right, man.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I love that.
Find you a mediator. And wishing you the best on that real
yeah.
rap. All right, so the next question is, how often do you update your relationship philosophy? That's a good question. Who is this?
That is a good question. Can I tell you what that makes me think about?
What's up?
So, Maddie James, she's an influencer online.
Shout out to Maddie James.
Mompreneur, boss, but also we know her personally, love her.
Shout out to her husband, Chris.
Yeah,
great guy.
Like we love them. They've been, I hate to call them a mentor couple because I feel like they're my friends. Of course I look up to them, but it's like I like the lateral friendships more than like the, what can I learn from you? Like we're learning from each other. So I appreciate your friendship, Maddie and Chris. But one thing that they really, was that funny?
Yeah, I don't know why it was funny to me. It's just,
I don't know. In my head, I feel like they watch our vlog. They probably don't. But so Maddie and Chris do this thing. I think it's called a family mission statement.
oh yeah, I remember you told me about that. Yeah.
I don't remember what theirs is, but I just remember the concept of it's like a set of guidelines or pillars for their family. So whenever they're making a family decision, whenever they're going through some type of hardship, they lean on those pillars to kind of guide their decisions. And I feel like for us, I'm not sure if we have established like a family mission statement, but I definitely think that there are pillars in our relationship that trickle down to our family and really set a tone for what I think could be a family mission statement. And I think communication is one of them. I think that we really value having safe spaces for us to communicate, especially about like grievances, but also like I don't always feel like when we have to talk, it's something that one of us did. Like the money conversation when I was on vacation, you know how we talked about that. Like I felt like if we didn't value communication, that could have ended up being an argument.
Oh, it would have been bad.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that you were valid in how you felt, but I also felt safe enough to be like, I get that, but I don't know if that's a me thing. Even though you ended up saying that. Like you ended up saying like after you thought about it, you know, it wasn't like a me thing, but like I felt validated enough to be like, yo babe, I completely understand where you're coming from. I don't think that's a me thing, but let's talk about it, you know. And I just don't know that if we didn't value communication that we'd be able to have that open conversation. So I definitely think that communication is one of them. And then I think another big one is just like respect for the things that we're good at in our relationship. Like I'm not good at it. I'm not the fun parent. You know, I know we talked about that earlier. Like I'm not the fun parent. Like I'm not the parent that's spontaneous, but I am the parent that plans. So I don't get mad at you for like not being able. I got something on my lip.
Nah, my lip just itch. You alright?
I think the respect factor too, because I think that I can recognize the things that you're good at in a relationship and let you cook, and you recognize the things that I'm good at and let me cook, and we don't try to step on each other's toes. Do you agree?
Love that aspect.
I feel like there's a third one because you know I think in threes, but communication and respect.
Are those mission statements? Or
I think
pillars?
those are pillars. I think it's based on like those pillars. Like when you look back on your relationship, when you look at I think specifically looking at times where you had adversity and how you kind of got over to the other side, what were the things that you can recognize in your relationship that helped you get there? And I think like it's the way that we communicate and it's the respect that we have for each other. I think those two things stand out so much, even in people who know us personally, and the way that we talk about each other in our relationship. Like, what would they say outside of those two things?
I don't disagree with you. I'm just trying to think, like, what's the philosophy? That's also a very intentional way of going about it. And my philosophy wouldn't be something that I could pull up, but if you point it out, I could verify and say, yeah, that is kind of what we do. I mean, I agree with you with the pillars, with the communication and the mutual respect. Of course, how often do we update it? I think it's just rolling.
Question? I thought you said, how do you define it?
Nah, how often do you update your relationship philosophy?
I think it just happens with time.
Yeah, it's on a rolling basis.
But I do think you need to recognize, like, what is it about your relationship that keeps you going, and allow those things to elevate.
I mean, it's similar to what you just said. The strengths, the individual strengths, and not stepping on toes. Mm-hmm. I think the philosophy kind of, they play into each other like that. It's, What are you good at? What are you strong at? Mm-hmm. What do I hate to do? I think that is our our philosophy. What are you good at? What am I not strong at? What do you love to do? What do I hate to do? And we just plug in. We give
each other room to do our thing.
Yeah, you like organizing? Cool. I hate that. Please take that. Oh, you like going out with the kids and having fun? Please take that. I'll be here taking a nap on the couch.
Mm-hmm. I'll have dinner ready for you when you come home.
But you know what? I think the older the kids get, it'll start to challenge us more. I think our roles are just going to keep switching.
Yeah. We got to maintain flexibility.
Oof. That's another philosophy, maintaining flexibility.
Yeah. And that's not something we always had. That's not, and that's definitely not something that I had. I'm not going to speak for you, but I was not a flexible person. I mean, we're both only children. Like, bend and adjust for who? Why?
Nah, I don't feel that way. I feel like I've always been a flexible person.
You have?
Yeah. To an extent. Maybe not originally, but I feel like I come around.
Is that flexibility?
To me, it is. I can't think of a super hard stance I've ever had that I didn't at least say, you know what, I could feel differently down the road.
So is flexibility... So I guess my question now is flexibility defined by your willingness to entertain other ways of thinking, or is flexibility your ability to adapt to different?
See, we too deep for the mailbag episode.
Damn. Because I disagree with you. I feel like you'll entertain something, but whenever you say something that you're gonna do and you're not gonna do, there is no budging on that. You'll entertain a conversation, be like, that's cool, but I'm not doing that. And flexibility might mean like maybe you'll do it a couple of years later after you had some time to sit on it, but it doesn't necessarily change the moment.
But flexibility also doesn't exist in every facet of my being. If I'm flexible with things in regard to my career and I'm inflexible with family, does that make me an inflexible person?
I thought we were talking about the relationship. So like flexibility in the relationship versus flexibility in career.
What part of the relationship?
Okay.
You don't think I'm flexible?
I think you're more flexible now, but I don't think you've always been flexible.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty rigid for a while.
I mean, I'd never dated me, so I'm going to just have to defer to you on that. That sounds right, but I would never be able to. Between bias and me being too close to it, how am I going to see that?
Yeah, that's true.
I never see that.
That's true.
You want to do one more?
Okay. As an 18-year-old, if you could, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
I remember I was on a podcast and they asked me that. What would you tell your 18-year-old self if you could go back and
so where were you at 18? Put yourself in that moment.
At 18, I had just graduated high school. My mom had just passed. I was making music for money. I was doing shows and doing rap battles. I had big dreams of being a hip-hop star. I didn't see much else outside of that, and I was trying to find ways to make money that were legitimate. What
were you struggling with then? What was 18-year-old Kier in that moment, in those places, doing those things? Was he happy?
Yeah, he was happy.
I know your mom had just passed, but like, how were you feeling emotionally then?
I can't remember, but I think he was his version of happy. And I think I felt fulfilled by music. I felt fulfilled by creating music and creating things in general. I don't really have one of those, I would tell him, hang in there, it's going to be better.
It doesn't have to. It could literally be like, keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, if you can just, knowing where you are now, and only you have that lived experience of Kier being 18. Yeah. Like, you know any issues he was having, or if he was happy, keep doing what you're doing because this is going to pay off. You know, something. I don't think it has to be like I'm down and I need to be risen up out of my stuff.
You know you be on a panel and there's always going to be somebody's like, if I had 18-year-old me, I would tell them that I love you. And I'd be like, damn, that's deep. But 18-year-old me would look at me now and be like, bro, why your sweatpants so tight?
Not what 18-year-old would say to you, is what you would say to your 18-year-old.
Yeah, I just tell them, just keep creating. Just keep making stuff, man. Just keep making stuff that makes you happy. And keep making stuff that you think is meaningful. I don't feel like you could ever go wrong with that. I think at that point it was more therapeutic for me than I realized. I didn't know a therapist was a thing, but I got to express myself through words, and I got to sort through some really complicated feelings in front of an entire audience with people kicking it back at me. So just keep making stuff, man. One day you'll be doing that for a living and it's gonna be lit. It ain't gonna be the way you think though. You're not gonna be rapping in front of you still have the crowds, but you hold the mic like you rapping, but you won't be rapping.
That's crazy. What year was it when I was 18?
The year was 2006.
2007.
2007. Damn, what was going on in 2007?
2007 was a rough year for me. 2007 was a rough year for me. It was the year that I graduated high school and started college. What I would tell her is 18-year-old Noémie was very resilient, and driven. And this was a part of my life where I think I was at a crossroads, and I think most people are in their like senior year going into high school. And I feel like I had so many dreams that I wanted to accomplish, and like looking back now, I accomplished every single one of those dreams that I set out to accomplish. And there were a lot of obstacles in the way, a lot of big obstacles in the way. But even through that, like I've been me for a really long time. You know, I've been an optimistic, like, first of all, I think that like people who are optimists get a bad rap because people think that we're delusional. It's not that we're delusional, but there really is beauty and resolve in all issues. It's all a matter of perspective, you know? And I just feel like I've always felt so strongly about that. I would tell her, the 18-year-old me, to keep that up, because that's what's going to separate you from being broken and you persevering. Because at that moment, I probably felt like that was like the hardest time of my life, like just that age and a lot of those decisions. But like everything, I hate to be cliche, but like everything really happens for a reason. And I would tell her to lean into her experience, but continue to push through the way that you always have. You know, like this is good practice for what's ahead, and you can do it. So yeah, I don't really have like I don't know if that's super inspirational, but yeah, like I don't stay down. You know what I mean? I've never been the type of, I'll be down for a minute, but I don't stay down. I don't ever stay down. That position isn't comfortable for me. So I don't stay there.
I like that. You just made me, damn, that was good. I want to change mine now.
Okay, go change yours. Go ahead.
I would change mine, actually. It'll probably change the course of my life. But I would tell him to go to college out of state after high school. Just go.
No, that will completely change the trajectory
That's
of your life.
That's why I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why these scenarios, my brain don't work for these scenarios.
This is a horrible challenge. You don't even want to answer these questions. Why are we doing this?
Why, when I ask people to ask me questions, these are always the kind of questions that people ask me.
But it's like you saw the questions before.
Baby, this is every Q&A. I be wanting people to ask me what my favorite cereal is. People like, how do I get out of depression? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a therapist. Jesus.
I gave myself an hour and we're a minute over.
I'm kind of over it too.
You've been over it. Kier thought that this was going to be a fun Q&A. I don't think he knows who he is. You think... Oh, I was about to curse. You think people want to be your friend because you cool and you rap good? People want to be your friend so you can give them advice. Somebody needs a hard look in the mirror.
I just want a lighthearted episode. I want to laugh. Well, I laugh. We laugh.
I don't think people come to your page to laugh. He has a post right now that's like averaging 4 million views. And
I didn't even know it was being filmed when you shot it.
And we'll tag it somewhere, but it's a video.
I think it's almost at 5 in the last 2 days. I think it's almost at 5 million.
If you look at the comments, everybody's like, "Oh my God, my inner child needed to hear this." I don't know how Kier Gaines equates like his brand with fun. Like you might be a little delusional.
Maybe. It's
you are everybody's therapist. You're about to, you know how like Felicia Rashad is everybody's like black mom.
Yeah.
You're everybody's dad right now. You're the dad that everybody wished they had.
I ain't mad. I received that. I want to do a fun Q&A when someone asks, "What's your favorite color?" Black. It's time to go, you guys.
Nobody cares about what your favorite color is.
Like I be seeing people Q and they be like, okay. "Oh, who's the best rapper? Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas." Give me some of that. Or
These people don't even know you used to rap.
Who's your favorite philosopher?
They just found out. What's your philosophy on relationship?
Like, how do I reconcile the relationship between me and my mama? Who's your mama?
What happened? Like I need what? What that lady
people
do?
See me and they just be like, "Therapist, come here." Give me the secrets to life.
If you want people to ask you fun questions, maybe you need to post more fun content.
I do. I posted a whole trip with me and my daughter going to Philly. Ain't nobody asked me nothing about Philly.
That was not fun. That was inspiration. Like the music in the background, the beginning, her almost crying me like I would love to.
But it really happened.
Like, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm just like, can you understand why the perception of the viewer is like, this is emotional and inspirational? I don't care who your favorite rapper is.
I'm never going to be able to see that, and I love it because I'm just happily living my life and posting content.
You're gonna be mad.
I'm happy that it's resonating with people. I love that. I love it. I love it. But I don't see myself like these other people see me. You know,
I know that. That's why I laugh at you because I'm like, sir, do you see what I see? You remember that? Like, do they see me? You see me?
Do I see?
You see
me? How am I not gonna see you? You see me?
Are you blown?
Nah, I'm not blown.
You are.
I'm not blown. I love to sit down talk because I can be honest, and I think. Like if I'm on a
Kier secretly hates to sit down talk because y'all are too serious.
That's not true. I don't even secretly hate this. I would not be recording this at 11 o'clock at night when I gotta be up at 5:30, 6 a.m.
It's not 11 yet, but we can end it before it hits 11.
Let's end it. I'm not. Thank you all for asking questions.
Don't stop asking us questions.
People be having lighthearted podcasts.
No. Okay, the next time we do a Q&A, we're going to try it in the morning time because...
Like, damn, the first question was, how do you reconcile cheating?
You picked that. That was actually the first question.
And that was the first question. And it was a great question, but damn, it wasn't nowhere to go from there.
I would love, if you guys want to continue asking us questions, they don't have to be light, but like happy questions.
I don't want to police the audience, man.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. I'll take
y'all
back.
ask us.
Yeah, just ask us whatever
ask
you
us
want.
what you know. It's cool.
We need to just have a live event. Like, we need to have a live event. Drop in the comments.
I don't always want to be serious.
Where you live. I think that the cameras just need to be away and we just need to vibe because I feel like you would like us so much more in real life. Like we are not this serious in real life.
Don't read my facial expressions, y'all.
He tired.
It's 11 o'clock at night and we answering serious questions
hopefully,
that I thank you for.
Hopefully, this was helpful. We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming next week.
Let us know how this episode went, because
if it didn't go well, please let us know.
Y'all, we thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit the notification button so that you can know of all of our posts as soon as they post. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hey, I just looked on Buzzsprout. We have 5,000 downloads.
That's crazy.
And I think we only have 4 episodes up on streaming platforms.
That's about
so anywhere
per episode.
That's crazy. That's amazing. So thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Real talk, we joke, but we really enjoy doing this and doing it to an audience that's so thoughtful and so intentional around the questions and just the conversations that you all have in the comments. I think that's the dopest thing in the world, and I know I say it all the time, but really appreciate y'all. If you listen on Spotify or Apple or God knows where, keep listening, man. Refer this podcast to somebody you like. Send a link to them and say, hey, listen to this today. We really appreciate that.
If you are listening on the podcast, you can go to thesitdowntalk.com.
Yes.
And then they have icons of any of your favorite streaming what is it? Streaming platforms like Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I think Google has one, Amazon. All of them should show up.
All the joints.
So that's just the easiest way to just go in.
Easiest.
And then once you do, make sure you follow. Or subscribe or whatever
Definitely
the terminology is.
Whatever you think.
Just to keep getting those updates of when those podcasts come out.
For sure.
In addition to the YouTube. Yes.
And if you watch and listen, I appreciate you. I've said that before. I've been saying that a lot. Yeah. It's late. I'm tired. Thank y'all so much. Talk to y'all later. Bye. No more 11 o'clock sit down talks.